Hello, I'm ABXToyCat and welcome back to another video. Today I'll be talking about features which came in with the last update. The last update was really cool because it added so many big things like ocean monuments and new biomes and slime blocks, and people have had a lot of fun experimenting with those blocks day after day after day. But there's a lot of smaller features that you've probably ignored because you've been so focused on these big ones that are actually quite useful and definitely worth knowing about. And today's video is to let you know about those features and to hopefully, teach you about things you might not even know existed because you've been focused on other things. So that's what I'm going to be doing in today's video. Please do like it if you do like it, because it helps out the channel a lot, and let us know you do like it. But let's get straight into it, really, shall we? So let's start with number one, which is actually to do with the mushroom block. A lot of people, either think this is the same as before, or they don't even appreciate that it is a feature in the game, because basically in the latest update, they took the number of mushroom blocks in the game from being technically 1 to being technically 3, and that's a really bizarre thing to say, but let's just basically say that both mushrooms now give you a different type of block when you break them. So here's a brown mushroom. When we break this, it's going to give us a brown mushroom block. Here is a red mushroom. When we break it, we get a red mushroom block. Before this, you didn't get either of these blocks when you broke them. You both got this exact same one here, which looked like the inside of these blocks, but on all 6 sides. So if I show you below, it'd be the exact same thing. It's a very, very bizarre, kind of solution to the problem, but I do like what we have now, right, much more, because both of these blocks are now exclusive, and you can actually do really cool things with them. So for instance, you can make your own mini mushrooms, you can make your own mega mushrooms, like these are huge mushrooms, but you can make ones like, the size of that, but out of mushroom blocks, and I think just the customization options are much, much cooler now that you can kind of do what you want there. So yeah, giant mushrooms can now be made, tiny mushrooms can now be made, and the really interesting thing is there's not just 2 blocks, there's technically a third, because there is this block right here you can see, which is the old one. When you break that, you get whatever it was made out of back, so we get a brown mushroom, black, and if we break all of them, we'll probably get some red ones. Yeah, there you go, they turn back into whatever it was before, but if you can leave them placed down, you now have this exclusive block that is no longer obtainable, except it kind of is, because the interesting thing is when we break this, we get the brown mushroom or the red mushroom, but if what we actually do is if we throw away all of this, or we just place it down for now, so let's, by the way, I'm flying in survival with the host privileges, so if we just, get rid of all those blocks for a second, if we go into our secret chest, which is on top of the mushroom, we actually have the old mushroom block in here, so this is now an exclusive block to people who had it before the update. This is, a very interesting thing. If you then break any of these blocks, they actually turn into this block right here, so you can see it's going to turn into the slightly weird mushroom block, and this is a really interesting little thing, but it is something that I thought was worth pointing out. So yeah, there's now 3 mushroom blocks, there's the 2 old ones, and there's the there's the 2 new ones, and there's the old one from before that can still kind of exist if you placed it before, and that you can actually get in your inventory if you have one around. It's a very bizarre legacy block, but it's a secret block that you might not have known about and that might not come up anywhere else, but still very, very cool in my opinion. I want to do something with giant mushrooms, and maybe you should do too. When you're next going through creative, just remember there are 2 blocks that you don't have access to in creative. They are survival only blocks. You have to go in survival, then get into creative. So yeah, that's that right there. I think I said enough about creative only blocks. Let's talk about number 2 on the list, which is actually to do with crafting. So basically, a lot of people are really excited that you can now craft, stuff like the mossy stone. They're excited you can craft stuff like the andesite and the diorite, which you can do here. These are really cool blocks, and I don't blame people for being excited that you can craft them. But there are other things that are really exciting to craft too, because we've got stuff in here like, like I said, we've got the moss stone, but we've also got stuff like the chiseled stone bricks, which is something that used to spawn 3 times per world if you were lucky. I mean, if you had 2 jungle temples, you'd get 6, but finding like anywhere close to a stack of this was impossible before the update. Now, if you just have stone bricks, you can make chiseled stone by yourself, and it takes you can see here, it's a really, really cool thing that you can now just make, and the same is true for chiseled red sandstone. A lot of people, well, I don't see many people use red sandstone by itself, but I see even fewer people using chiseled red sandstone, and chiseled red sandstone is so cool because it has like the little picture of the wither on it, and I just think it's such a great little block because, it's sandstone, red sandstone, but it looks a lot cooler, and this can be used for some great decorations. So yeah, 2 amazing decoration blocks are now available in survival, and I just noticed a lot of people didn't, really seem to notice this stuff. If you haven't built with either of those or with that yet, maybe have a bit of fun in survival with all of that stuff. So let's move on to number 3, which is actually also useful for people who have old worlds, because before the update, bone meal was kind of a useful thing, but now it has a lot more uses, whether it's finding flowers if you bone meal in the right biomes, because, on the plains biome, when you bone meal, you're going to get a bunch of tall grass, some poppies, some oxeye daisies, and some flowers and some tall grass, but there's some more uses for it, including, getting the new flowers, but also, if you put it on an individual piece of grass, you can actually get tall grass. So tall grass isn't something you can naturally find, on an old world, but if you have an old world and you really want tall grass, all you have to do is bone meal grass, you'll get tall grass, you can shears it up, and boom, you can take a lot of tall grass and do that with this thing. So yeah, if you really, really want tall grass in a world, you can actually do this. It's a tiny feature, but it's one that, might not be instinctively obvious, because before the update, if you bone milled a piece of grass, it would just spam the area around it. Now, you get tall grass, which is nice. I think you can make some really cool layered kind of grasses with it, and you can hide inside this from, mobs and stuff. And yeah, basically, tall grass is a thing that you can get on old worlds, even if you don't think that it is. Just use bone meal and you'll get some magic done. So yeah, that is feature number 3 that you might have, really played around with. Yeah, let's move on to number 4 here. So number 4 is actually to do with food, because I thought this food would be it is the new best food on a lot of scales, but it's been so tricky to get for so many people that I just haven't seen anyone bother with it. So what is this mysterious, amazing food? This mysterious, amazing food is actually the rabbit stew, or the cooked rabbit stew. Because basically, you need 5 items for this stew, which means you need a crafting table. So it's a little tricky to craft. It requires a lot of weird ingredients, including the cooked rabbit, which people don't have. But if you do make this food, look at my hunger bar right now. It's on 5 hunger bar. This is the only food in the game that can restore full 5, hunger shanks. Which means if you're at 0 and you're starving, just 2 bowls of this will take you all the way up to max. Add that, the fact that it has pretty good saturation values. It's not the best in the game, but it's pretty good. And this is arguably the best food you can get that doesn't require gold. And that's, a really, really cool thing. I think that if you, have a combat situation, we have something where you need to restore lots of hunger, please make yourself a bowl of this. I know it's tricky to get 5 ingredients, or 4 ingredients plus a bowl, but if you can get yourself a reserve of cooked rabbit, which again is tricky because rabbits are so hard to find, then you can get the best food in the game by a lot of measures, and that is the cooked rabbit stew. So yeah, that is number 4 right here. So what is number 5? Number 5 is a very bizarre one that I didn't believe when people told me about, and that's why I think, you might be interested in it, because basically it's to do with iron golems and the wither. So basically these mobs used to only be craftable by going like this, for instance, then placing, apparently this, for instance, then placing the block on top. But now what you can actually do is if you place the blocks along the ground, so you can place it sideways, then what you can actually do is place the pumpkin there, and boom, you've just made the iron golem, but you've made it sideways. Unfortunately, they don't spawn sideways, as cool as that'd be. I'd love to see them, spawn up from the ground, but still, you can make them sideways, which means if you're in a limited space where you don't have 3 blocks high, you can actually still make an iron golem the exact same way, and as you can see, it's the exact same thing, it's just this one was crafted sideways, this one wasn't. The same can be done with the wither boss, which I think would be really handy for, trapping the wither in a smaller space, but yeah, those are that's 2 interesting things that might come up and might save your day one time when it comes to that. So, to kind of recap the features here, we've got the 2 new blocks that are survival exclusive, plus the 3rd legacy block, which only exists if you had it before. We've got the chiseled stone bricks and the chiseled red sandstone that are both amazing. We've got the new best food in the game, rabbit stew. We've got, bone meal and grass to get tall grass on old worlds, and we've got sideways crafting of mobs, like this one over here. And I'd very much appreciate a like on the video if you did like it, because it helps out the channel a lot, and let us know who did like it. Share if you really liked it, and subscribe if you're new around here. I really enjoy doing the sort of videos where I teach people new stuff, because every now and then someone will be like, yeah, I'm going to use this to do that and that. So if any of these things are going to come up in your world, I'd love to know what they are, and also I'd love to know if you have any of the old mushroom blocks lying around in your world, because I did make a few videos on it, but now it seems to be a block that can only be gotten if you already have it, because if you place these blocks down, it will look like the new one, and yeah, it means that there's this very bizarre situation where a block still exists, but as soon as you break it, it's gone forever. So if you have any of this in your world, make sure you don't break it, but I'd love to know if you do in the comments down below. Anyway, thank you all very much for watching, hope you all have a nice day, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!